today I have an African violet plant that is overgrown. You'll see first off that this one is in an African violet pot, which is a two-part pot. It is a pot that absorbs water that you put the plant in, and the other part is a vessel that holds the water. This allows the plant to water itself as it needs it over time. This is one of my favorite kinds of pots, but I want you to know that you don't need this kind of pot to be successful at growing an African violet. Today I'm going to be using just a clay pot and a regular plastic pot. I use both of these. Quite frankly, my African violet collection has gotten to be so abundant that I'm always looking for someone to give my plants away to. So this plant has been left to grow too long. You'll see here that it's in bloom. It has flowers. This was the original plant. And here I have a second plant, a baby, which isn't much of a baby actually, that needs to come out of this pot. And I won't be surprised that once I take it out of the pot that there may be more babies in there. So the first thing to do when your plant gets to this point is to take it carefully from the pot. Now usually when it's at this point you can be pretty much assured that it's going to be root bound. So let's see what happens when we try to get it out. There we go. Came out pretty easily. Now I'm going to inspect it. Yes, there are 3 plants here. There is the main plant, the largest part. There's the first baby, sibling, and a sibling to it is a little tiny baby plant right in here. So what I'm going to do is to take a knife, I just use a kitchen knife, and I'm going to cut. Don't be afraid. Go ahead. Find where the base of the plant is, and if it needs to be divided from another plant, just take your knife in there and cut. Just like this. There you go. That's one. Next is the baby. Can you see it right there? That's the baby. So cute. I'm going to cut that one out. There we go. Come on. Come on, here it is. There's the little baby. A dead leaf on that. We don't need that leaf. There we go. Okay. So this one is going to be perfect to go into this small pot. The bigger one will go into this bigger pot. And then the main one will go back into the pot that it was originally in. Now, to do that, all you need are your pots and some African violet soil. You're going to want African violet soil. It's produced specifically for the needs of an African violet plant, and it's the right kind of soil to use. I'm going to pot the baby plant, the little tiny one. Generally, you have to be a little more gentle with the babies. You're going to find that when you cut it out of the mother plant, that there'll be just a little tiny root, and that's okay. This plant will do very well. You want to make sure that you put it in a pot that is not too big for its size. That's why this one is going to be perfect. Put African violet soil in the base of the pot and make a little well in there. Take your plant, set it in, and push it down. Push it down. And then take more of the African violet soil and place it all around it. I'm doing this outside because it's a pretty messy job. And you're going to want to do that too. Or else put down newspapers or something to catch the dirt if you're doing it in the house. I have done that on my kitchen counter. So just push it in, push it in. It needs to be firm. And then, in the case of this plant, I'm going to simulate with this pot, an African violet pot, by taking just a plastic container that I filled partly with water. I'm going to set that container into the pot. And in addition, I'm going to water from above. African violet plants prefer to be watered from above. So in general, as you're watering, below. In general, you're going to want your African violet plant to be sitting in water. Now, many will recommend that you remove the plant from the water. I don't do that, and I am very successful with my African violet plants. So I just watch them. I do let the water actually go dry for a period because African violet plants do like to be dry every once in a while. So this plant is going to thrive, do very well. While I'm repotting this third plant, let's talk about the basics of African violet care. Light, water, grooming, and fertilizing. First off with light. I like to keep my African violets either in a south or west facing room, but not in direct sunlight. They like it to be bright, but I don't like to have the sun beating on my plants. So I would suggest that you find a nice sunny location, but not right on a windowsill. For watering, I will generally water my plants once a week. What that means for African violets is I check them. I check to see if they are completely dry. I do not water my African violets unless they are completely dry. Overwatering African violets is the kiss of death. I will groom once a week. So grooming is important. You want to go around to your plants and pull off, just pull out any leaves that look wilted or browned that just aren't pretty, and also then pinch off any of the spent blooms like there is on this plant. Just pull it off and discard it. And then finally, fertilizer. I only fertilize occasionally. That means a couple times a year. And I do that with a 10-10-10 water-soluble fertilizer. So it's very easy to care for your African violets. You'll have many, many African violets if you just go out and buy yourself one today. The blooms will occur all year long. So they're a great houseplant to have to bring color and cheerfulness, particularly if you live in the Northeast like I do, for those dreary winter months. When your African violet is blooming, it's really nice to have it in your room. So follow these simple steps and you too can be a successful African violet grower.